glad you all could make it today. My name is Susan.
I'm Jane.
Jane.
And I'm Thomas.
Tom, nice to meet you all. Tom or Thomas? Which you go by?
I'll go by Tom.
Tom, okay. All right, well, glad to have you all. What I like to do at the beginning of the session is kind of get to know each other a little bit better. So like I said, my name is Susan. I've been practicing therapy for 10 years now. My main focus, the therapy that I like to use, I use a little bit of all of them, but just so you all know, is cognitive behavioral therapy. And what that kind of is we have a lot of thoughts floating through our mind, and some thoughts are useful and some are not. And so I like to evaluate those thoughts and determine if it is truthful, and we can use it, or if it's not, if it's maybe something we've learned or have been told about ourselves that's not accurate, then we'll just kind of put that thought to the side. I believe our thoughts affect our actions, affect our behavior. So that's something that we kind of work through. So why don't you all tell me a little bit about yourself? You all are married, I assume?
We've been married for 5 years.
5 years, okay.
We have 2 kids, a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Very nice. Keeps you busy, I'm sure.
Very busy.
Yeah.
A lot of questions.
A lot of questions, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, very good. I guess we can jump in. What brings you all in today? What brings you into therapy?
I asked my wife to come. Her father recently passed away, and she's having a hard time coping.
Okay.
And I felt like expecting our family, and thought just time we see a therapy.
Okay, definitely. That's definitely something that's really hard to go through. Normal, and losing a parent, is someone who is close to you, and so I know that can be very challenging. And so I'm glad you all are here, so we can work through that, kind of talk about the grief process. And you said it's been 6 months, and so if it's still, it's definitely still hard, but, maybe some ways we can make it a little easier on you, and on you as a couple. So you say it was a shock to your family, so it was unexpected. It wasn't something that you all knew was coming.
No, it was a shock to all of us. It was a sudden heart attack, and we had been going to Life Church, and we were unplugged. So I didn't hear any of the phone calls.
Okay, unplugged. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was a sermon about just being unplugged from social media, trying to help your marriage and stuff like that. So we had our phones on silent.
Wow.
And he had passed in the middle of the night, and we didn't hear any of the phone calls. So by the time we got a knock on the door, it had been 3 hours, and he had been gone for 3 hours. So.
If you feel comfortable, do you mind sharing me a little bit about your relationship with your dad, what your relationship was like with him?
Well, he really was just my person. He did everything for me.
I know that's hard to talk about. Take your time.
We were just very close. Not having him every day, I don't know if I can ever get over it. I'm just sad and I cry all the time.
Well, I'm so glad that you all came in. Losing a parent, experiencing difficulty in coping is to be expected. Being sad, having moments of, crying, and that's normal. But I definitely want to help you all move forward in a healthy way. It does seem like there is, some struggle in your marriage as a result of that. So we definitely want to take a look at that and what might be causing that, and help you all work through that. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're experiencing difficulty in, what you're having trouble working through?
I can't sleep. I just have a hard time even getting out of bed. I don't have any energy. I just really don't want to do anything throughout the day. I'd rather go home from work. I never make it through a full day of work.
Deeper into your daily routine. You said you're leaving work early. Can you tell me what a typical work week looks like for you?
Well, I usually get up, and it's from not sleeping. I'm usually up in the middle of the night crying, and whenever I do get to work, it's lots of leaving my desk and going to cry.
You say, so you're waking up crying. What are you feeling when you're waking up crying?
Like
what are you thinking
my
about?
Stomach.
Okay.
It's him every single
Just
time.
thinking about him, the sadness of
Yeah.
him not being there.
Mhm.
Okay. And at work too, is that the same?
Yeah,
thought that's
everything just
distracting?
reminds me of him.
Okay. Okay. For sharing. Tom, if you don't mind, would you share kind of what you're seeing out of Jane, and kind of what brought you in today, why you wanted her to come see both of you to come see a therapist?
Well, it's just being very disconnected from life. Breakdowns just, are pretty frequent. And I think she's scared she will lose the memories of, if she let go. Depression doesn't seem like it's getting any better.
Okay. And how is this affecting your relationship as a couple?
I just don't know how to help her. I feel like, there's nothing I can do to make this better for her. I feel like I lost my father-in-law, and part of my wife is just not completely here with me. I know she's struggling home, work, and relationship with friends. We have 2 kids. One of them just turned 5. I mean, both the young, a lot to handle. I feel like I'm trying to keep up with the job, housework, and kids with a little help. And I know she's struggling, but I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Right. Jane, I saw you throw up your hands when he mentioned that he feels like he's lost a part of his wife. What is that bringing to you? What kind of thoughts and feelings?
He's never lost anyone, so I don't know how you can even say that he feels like he's lost a part of me when he's never experienced what I've experienced.
Right. You feel like you're trying to grieve that loss and that he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand. Okay. Well, as I mentioned earlier, grief is definitely normal. And kind of to help you all with understanding the process, I'll give you a brochure when you leave that kind of talks. There's stages of grief. There's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And the brochure will kind of go into a little bit more detail on these things, but you can go back and forth. You can be depressed. You can go from being sad to angry to denial to questioning, like you said, when your phones were on silent, beating yourself up for why did I have my phone on silent? It's something you can't go back and change, but it's something that's upsetting, and so just that there is a process to grief, and we want to make sure we're allowing you to experience that, but then we're also moving forward in life, in your life and your relationship, and as a couple and you individually, and that you're creating a new normal. Things will never be the same. You can never bring your dad back. Traditions, having him at family events, it's not going to be the same, but we can find a new normal, create new traditions for your family and for yourself, for you two as a couple, just to get back to living a fulfilled life. Does this seem like a goal you would like to reach?
Yeah, but how do we get there?
I kind of mentioned this earlier, but we will do that by examining the thoughts you are having and the feelings that result from those thoughts. If the thought is true or useful, we will process it and come to terms with it. But if that thought is not useful or not true, we will learn to look at it in a new way. For example, you might be thinking things will never be the same. I know you've mentioned that. This might be true. Like we said, family traditions, those things, it's going to look different. It's not going to look the same, but we'll find a new way, a new normal for you all to bring family traditions and happiness. You might also have thoughts that say, I will always be sad. You're thinking, I'll never get over this. You will always be sad that you lost your dad, but you're probably not always going to feel it as deeply as you're feeling it right now. And we want to set goals and homework to help you cope and sort through those thoughts. Is that something you feel like you're up for? You feel like you're ready to kind of move back into a new normal?
Yeah, I just want to be happy again.
Okay. We will help you get there. So as we move forward in therapy, I think it would be great to do individual sessions eventually, but right now I think it would be beneficial to meet as a couple, just kind of so both of you can be on the same page in the grief process and what it's like moving forward. And, maybe knowing that some of the things are normal, can help you kind of give a little grace to her when she's struggling, and then the same, knowing that he needs support with the family and with the kids and how we can move forward in that. Do you think you guys are up for meeting both as a couple?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Jane, what are you wanting to get out of therapy?
I'm sick of being depressed. I don't know. I just want to get back to being normal and not sad all the time.
What does happy look like to you when you say you don't want to be sad?
Really just back to being a mom. I miss all of their functions. I've missed softball games, recitals. I miss just spending time with my husband. All the normal stuff that you do as a family and as a couple.
Right. What kind of things did you used to do with your husband that you really enjoyed?
We both love to work out, go to the gym, vacation together. We used to take the kids to family events. We'd take them to the zoo. We like to hang out with our friends at least once a month. We don't even see them anymore.
All right. So you say friends and family. Do you feel like you have a good support system from your friends and family?
No.
No to
No.
both, or
Both, really.
okay.
The friends that I thought I had, you really find out who your true friends are whenever you lose someone.
Right.
I think they're just scared to talk to me about it.
Okay.
Afraid that I'm going to break down.
Have they tried to talk to you about it before, and then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe it is more, them being scared to approach you rather than. Because I know, even for me, when people are grieving, it is. What do I say? I don't want to say something that's going to offend them, and so maybe it's not so much they don't want to be around you, but they don't know how to approach it. They don't know what to say. Have you ever thought about it in that way before?
No, I just felt like they just didn't want to be around me.
Can you see where maybe it's the other?
Yeah.
Okay. So family, you don't feel like they're a support for you?
No, I really feel like they just haven't helped me at all. I'm having to bear everything for my mom. And it's really a lot. It's taking a toll on me. I mean, I feel like I don't even get to grieve because I'm always worrying about her. And my brother and sister never help out with anything. They don't check on her or anything.
Have you reached out to them and asked them for more help, or
No.
how did those come? No. Okay. Okay. Maybe that's something we could talk about in the future is expressing some needs. The needs that you have for them to be more supportive of your mom.
Okay.
All right. Tom, what are you wanting to get out of therapy?
Well, I need more support from her. The kids need their mom back. They're used to having her read bedtime stories for them. Fixing breakfast for them, and several other things. And just want everything back to normal before her father passed away.
Jane, I see this is bringing up some emotions for you.
He just makes me feel really guilty for feeling the way that I do.
Tom, do you feel like you do that the things you say are causing additional sadness, or?
I don't know. I just want everything back to normal.
And I feel, like that's coming out of a place of care, wanting to help you, possibly be better yourself, So, Tom, you say you want more support. What are some ways that she can support you?
Well, a lot of time I'm just doing everything on my own, while she's in the bedroom by herself. First, we just start off to have family dinners again,
Okay.
and do activities together, go bowling or something.
Okay. How often did you used to have family dinners?
Several times a week.
Several times a week? Okay. So maybe if we could do family dinners 2 times a week, does that sound reasonable? A small goal to set just to bring that family time back, and maybe you all could make dinner together. So family dinners 2 times a week would be agreeable. You all can maybe make the dinner together. That would give you all time together as a couple, and then time together with your children as well. Jane, do you feel like that's something that you would be happy with?
Yeah, I would enjoy more time with my family.
Okay. Tom, is there anything else? Anything else you can think of? Activities? Would you all like to maybe set a date night? You said you enjoyed working out together, maybe getting to the gym one time a week. What do you think is a good goal?
We could do that, you know.
Could start back doing that. That would be fine.
The gym part?
Mhm.
How many times a week do you think?
2? Is that
2
good?
times a week?
Let's start off small.
Yeah, I think that's a good goal. And you know, as you're doing physical activity, the endorphins, you know, increases happiness, and so maybe that'll help. I think that's a great goal. So something I want you all to do as homework when you get home, Jane, I would like you to maybe start recording the times you're feeling depressed, the thoughts that you are having, and then the emotion, you know, that's related to them. So when you're waking up at night, you know, when at work, when you're experiencing, you said sadness, whatever it is, those thoughts that you're having, record them, and then the emotion that's associated with them. So that sounds good?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay. Tom, I would also like you to record how often you are seeing Jane feeling sad during the day, or depressed, or angry, whatever it might be that you would think would be related. That's out of her normal behavior. Just record that. And so hopefully as we're doing all of these sessions, and I'm, you know, having homework for you all, getting back into the normal routines, the activities, the gym, having family dinners, hopefully as we see that progressing, the moments when you're feeling depressed and sad will decrease. And so this will give us a good idea of how often it's occurring week to week. So is that something you think you could do?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I could do that.
All right. And then, of course, we've talked about the family dinner 2 times a week, gym 2 times a week. I think that's a great place to start. I'm glad you all came in. As I said, I think you guys are struggling right now individually and as a couple, but it's not something that can't be worked through. How do you all feel like this session went? Do you feel like you got to talk some about how you're feeling, and maybe kind of give some feedback on that?
I feel a little bit better, but I'm not frustrated.
I feel like it went okay. I have some concerns with my kids. I just wonder if we should maybe bring them in for a session.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we can definitely look at. Maybe I would like to meet with you all a couple of more times, and then maybe discuss what we want to talk to them about, maybe about the grieving process, because I'm sure they're seeing you go through this, and so kind of let them kind of express their feelings a little bit.
You said a few more times. How long is it going to take for me to feel better?
Typically, I see clients between like 6 to 14 times, and so just depending on how quickly we progress will depend on how many sessions there are. But usually, it's not long term. You know, clients usually don't come for a year. We want to give you the tools, you know, to help you in life, and you can kind of work through some of this on your own. And so eventually, yes, we'll have a cutoff session, but I want you all to make sure that you're feeling like you can cope with this on your own before we do that. So that's definitely, yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay. So you all would like to continue to come. I say we meet once a week. Does that sound good to you all?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll meet 2 more times and then bring your kids in. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you say the youngest is 2. Do you think that's beneficial for them to come, or just the oldest?
Probably just the oldest. He's the one that kind of asked about me.
Okay. All right. That'd be good. And you all want to be in that session with him?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I think that would be very, very helpful. And I'm so glad you all made it. And we will see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Hi, so glad you all can make it today. My name is Susan.
And Megan.
Jane, nice to meet you, Jane. You guys are
Let's do it again.
Literally. Everyone was gonna be.
Can we pause it? Okay.
I can't look at her.
I can't. I'm just like, I'm about to start laughing. Okay. So what are some small steps? What are some small steps we can take?
Such a guy
It's
answer.
a true part. Okay, so Jaden, what does happy look like to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would like
How
that.
are we gonna edit that? You're gonna have to stop
Please hang up and try again.
together.
Okay.
I can't look at her.
I can't. I'm just like, I'm about to start laughing. Okay.
No, my siblings suck.
Oh, really?
I was trying to.
And I'm just.
Tom, do you want to spend time with her?
I'm not frustrated.
I'm sorry.
Are we still taping?
Yeah,
we're still taping.
So, some feedback on the session. Sad.
You were doing
Okay.
so good.
Okay.